Welcome to another episode of Natural Mojo, where I'm bringing you power and energy from the great outdoors. Now, yes, I'm inside the camper van, but behind me is the mountain range on the U.S. side. It's called the Olympic Mountain Range. So you might want to check that out by Googling it to see what that's all about. It's just absolutely gorgeous, especially on a day like today, the second day of spring. So welcome back to another episode. This week, it's something that is near and dear to my heart because I've struggled with it all of my life. And I really wanted to shed some light on it because I have a feeling that some of you might be having the same issue that I had, and occasionally, every now and then, still have shine a light on to make sure that I have it under control. So what I'm talking about is how to stop quitting everything that you start. You know, I work with a lot of people, and this is their number one issue. They get really passionate about a project, an item, a goal, a dream, a vision, a purpose. And they start off fine, I know I do, and we head off into the unknown, all excited, adrenaline flowing, motivation high, and all of these things are just, what can I say, rocking and rolling. You know what I mean. You've had that feeling. The great beginnings, and we love beginnings. And very few of us actually get to the point where we cross those finish lines because when we begin, we, for some reason, don't understand the process of starting and completing projects. In the middle, that's when things get tough. The excitement wears off, the energy starts to wane, it becomes monotonous, it becomes boring. All the cheerleaders have gone home, so you're on your own and you're struggling to make the climb to the summit. So what do? You default back to what was comfortable and easy way back in the beginning before you set off on this epic journey. So next thing you know, it's a couple of years later and you wonder what happened to that vision? What happened to that dream? Where did it go? Well, it goes where it always goes, to the cemetery of broken and lost dreams. And I know that sounds harsh, but isn't that what you've been dealing with your entire life? I know I have, and I just couldn't figure out what was wrong. I mean, it's not that I was an unintelligent human being. That wasn't the case. I'm educated, well-read, held positions of responsibility in my life, yet for some reason, left to my own devices and having to control myself and lead myself and get myself into my promised land, things started to unravel and unwind. And this became an epic journey for me of discovery. Why is it this was happening to me? And on my last video, I talked about that the fact that you weren't powerless and lazy, it was about how to lead a chaotic and productive life. Really, it comes down to one overriding theme: to know thyself. We have to take ourselves on like a scientific project or experiment. We're so busy looking at the outside world and what's going on and how I can be like my favorite celebrity or star or creator. But just keep in mind, you're looking at people where the gap between where you are and where they happen to be is just too huge for you to overcome. If I was to give you 1 million followers today, would you be prepared with really epic content and systems in place to handle all that would mean for you? Probably not. You have to go through the steps and the procedures and the experience to handle where those people now find themselves. Okay? We want to jump over the hard stuff. We want to sidestep the work. We just want to arrive on the scene. And that's where most people find themselves in trouble. When things get hard and it's no longer sexy, it doesn't look like an Instagram photo, we think that we have gone off the rails, and we haven't. This is just a normal course of things. You know, when we see people all of a sudden just sort of arrive on the scene as if they're an overnight sensation, they are an overnight sensation that took 25 years to get there, right? We didn't see all the hard knocks that they went through. We didn't see the doubt and the insecurities or them sleeping in their vehicles like J.K. Rowling and Tyler Perry. They're billionaires now, but they had some hard times, right? Would you be willing to go after your dream in such a way that you would end up sleeping in your car or on welfare or the multitude of things many of these people said yes to or had to put up with or deal with in order to get to the other side of that gap that we're always trying to get over and then running back to safety. Then we start out over again. No, and we run back to safety. So today I wanted to bring a framework of 4 things for you to consider as you try again, but this time to not stop and make it all the way over to the other side where all those cool people happen to be. And it's not that they're particularly cool or fun or nice or interesting people. They just knew that what they were after was important enough for them to put up with the things that most people won't put up with. Okay? So let's start off with number 1. I call it needle moving 101. What in your process will require some work, some effort, some research, some systems creation for you to start seeing and getting results. Most things that you put into place or implement or execute will not have any results for a very long time. And this is like trying to get into shape or lose weight or anything like that. For some reason, people think a couple of trips to the gym and boom, you're down 10 pounds and you've got that buff body and six-pack. Those people that you see online, they have been doing that for years. Now they're trying to get you to follow them to do the same thing. But it's about adjusting your expectations. Exactly what will it take to move the needle from 0 to 1? There's a book by Peter Thiel called 0 to 1. I believe he was the founder of PayPal and other such platforms. There is a lot of energy required to get from 0 to 1. Forget about 10. Getting off the ground into that next level takes a lot of commitment and a lot of energy. And it's lonely because all of your friends are going to run because it's work. They want to go back to the easier, more comfortable things. And you will want that for yourself too when you're on your own struggling through. But just keep in mind that you have committed to this. So these feelings should not take you by surprise. I think a lot of people are caught off guard, not understanding that this is part of the journey. When you go to the theater and you pay your money to sit in the dark in that seat to be entertained by someone's story, by someone's journey. Now, how interesting would Raiders of the Lost Ark been if the protagonist just walked up, grabbed the box, and went home? We would scream for our money back. There was no action. There was no thrill. There was no meeting one's nemesis and fighting it through to get to the other side or to the end, right? And then we come out of the theater and we're exhilarated. And some of you, if you're anything like me, have seen that movie many times because of how you felt going through the journey. So is it with our lives. If you treated your life like an experiment and understood that you were going to go through some high highs and some low lows and a lot of things in between, none of this will take you by surprise. So it's really to create a map for yourself that points out all the skills that you're going to need to get the job done, all the people, all the funding, if there's a business that you're building, or some sort of thing that you're creating, everything. Just write it all down that you can possibly think of, or maybe partner up with somebody that can ask you the questions to pull out answers to some things that you haven't thought about. So all of these things are there in your sights and understanding what it will mean. Maybe the thing you write down is that for 3 months, I'm not going to lose that significant weight. So when you don't lose significant weight for 3 months, you're not disappointed. And what if you do lose significant weight on month 2? Oh my gosh, you're ahead of the game, right? But I think our expectations are so warped that it blindsides us. And what do? We sit down and we say it doesn't work and we give up. And then we look for another silver bullet or another thing to try or another dream to follow. And we're just scattered and fuzzy. and disappointed with ourselves because we just can't seem to get anywhere very quickly or anywhere at all. Forget about quickly, we don't seem to get anywhere at all. All right. Again, if you haven't seen the video from last week, check it out. It talks about this, how we set ourselves up for massive failure because our expectations are skewed and you haven't taken the time to know yourself. So know thyself. All that I speak about is really an exercise in getting to know yourself, documenting the places that you get stuck, documenting the gremlins that hijack your thinking and your mind and your emotions. All of these things have to be put down. For instance, let's just say you want to, working out is a pretty universal example for most people. So let's just say you want to get in the best shape of your life. You want to lose weight, okay? And you set off on this journey and you're doing well and you're going to the gym or whatever way that you choose to do your fitness routine. And then all of a sudden, that familiar feeling overcomes you. And you know that feeling I'm talking about, that feeling of, oh, it won't matter if I miss today. Now, doesn't that one day turn into two, turn into a week, turn into a month, turn into a year, turn into a decade? And then now you're 25 pounds heavier than you started out with and so disappointed in yourself because you set yourself up for failure. You didn't document all the things that were going to get in your way. What gets in your way? What is the thinking that erupts all of a sudden out of nowhere, right? It might be, you might be going through stress from work, from the family, a bad relationship, something happens, but life always happens. The minute you make plans, life jumps in. There's no escaping that for anybody, whether you're watching the top 1%ers on the planet or all of the influencers or business creators or content creators or what have you. As well as they're doing out there in the world, they have to deal with the same kind of things that you and I have to deal with and give up on. They have emotional issues to deal with. They have doubts that flare up and insecurities, and maybe there's financial issues happening there. What about health? I have an online friend and she has a great business and found out that her life is in jeopardy based on a diagnosis she received. Yet I still see her creating and outputting every day as she works on her dire health situation. Right? It's about becoming obsessed about the commitment that you make and the promises that you make to yourself. And I don't think we make enough of a commitment and we don't get obsessed enough about these things. And the littlest thing trips us up. So let's move on to number 2, to become your own hero. Now, you know who Beyonce is, right? And Beyonce had, and maybe even still a little, but she had debilitating stage fright. In order for her to get up there and do the thing that she does in such grand manner, she had to create an alter ego, right? She had to pull out another part of herself that will allow her to be and do what she does in front of an audience. Okay, so I now had to go into myself to get on camera and to do the things that I do. It can't be shy, doubting Pamela, who's always running away from the spotlight. I have to be somebody else and able to get this done. And actually, I have to update this character, this chick, because I want to move to the next level in my own life. So who does she have to be? Who's the new alter ego to bring on that can get the job done and pull retiring Pamela, who's always going to give up on herself? Who does that person need to be? And there are times when I need to make a decision about something or getting back into play about something, and I ask the question and I say, is this what so-and-so would do? And just fill in the blank with your mentor, whether it's a person in your life or it's a person that you read about or see about online somewhere. Would they make this decision? Would they take this action? Would they give up? Would they stop? All right, maybe that's the alter ego you become to get yourself to that next place. Because it matters not what book that you purchase or what course that you take, or none of these tools, these wonderful and great and mandatory tools, can actually get you to stand up and to take the action and execute. All right? At the end of the day, it's you and you alone in that arena that have to take the steps forward. There is no planner, there is no system, there is nothing that can get you to take. You know that saying that says you can lead a horse to water, but only they can actually do the drinking. It's even when you hire a trainer and spend all kinds of money on a trainer, you still have to do the push-ups to get the muscles, not them. Right? So at the end of the day, how committed are you to using and creating your life in such a way that you're willing to get by yourself? This is about getting by yourself, getting by the bad habits, getting by the doubt, getting by the chronic procrastination and denial. Right? So let's move on to number 3. It's to rise up from the pit. You know, if you've ever watched car racing of any sort, there's a time in the driver's performance on the track that they have to leave the track and go into the pit stop because they have to get their tires changed out or whatever they need to have happen. And the pit crew is so well practiced at getting it done in seconds so the driver can get back into the race. And it's so with us. There's nothing wrong with taking a break or even having a little bit of a pity party, but it's about getting back into your race, not anybody else's race, and not the rat race, your race. The race you defined at the beginning of this journey. But most people tumble into the pit and they stay there. And not only do they stay there, they put up residence there. They put up wallpaper in the pit, they buy furniture for the pit, they give out their new address to the pit, and they just live in that place. No. Pit stop if you need to, rest if you have to, rejuvenate if that's what's called for, but get back into the race as quickly as possible. Why? I know a lot of you don't want to hear about, it sounds like I'm telling you to go out there and hustle and grind. No, what I'm telling you to do is to get back into your race. Why? Because at some point along this journey, you are going to leave the race for good. It's not if you die, it's when will you die. And nobody wants to hear about dying, and I don't understand. We need to live every day as if we know this to be true. Just like the poet Rumi talks about, we live our life as if we don't think it's going to be over. Now, I paraphrase that like crazy, but you understand what I'm saying. All right? Get out of the pit as fast as you can. Don't roll in there and stay there. We see so many people that decide to take up residence in their pit stops. Right? Including you. And I lived in my pit far too long. Right? But I had to all of a sudden make up my mind to get out of the pit. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. Again, this is all about knowing yourself, and this is why I'm always advocating to people to make this into an experiment. Actually get a book, just like scientists do, and write field notes about your life and the things that you think and how you trip yourself up and how you slam into the wall and how you do emotional face plants and what makes you give up and what makes you stay giving up. Like, really document all of these things. And you don't have to show this to anybody. This is for your eyes only, unless you're talking with a therapist or a counselor who would like to know some of this so they can help direct you. But I'm talking for those of you that are able and willing and committed enough to do the work and put in the effort to pull themselves up to that next place, because you can. It's not easy, but you can. Know thyself, take notes, ask the questions, and the best way to do that line of work is to have eyes on you. I needed eyes on me, and I still need eyes on me. I need people asking me, hey, what's going on? When's that next thing coming out? What are you doing? Are you going to the gym? It's about having a community of people. It might be a community of one, which you can call a mentor, a coach, or an accountability partner of some sort. But somebody that knows about the commitment and the promises that you're making to yourself that can help you rise out of that pit. There is no time for pit dwelling. There are only so many weekends or weeks assigned to each of us. Some have more than others. You do not know when it's going to be your time. And you may never get to your vision or your goal. That's never promised or guaranteed to any of us. But it's not even about getting there. It's about the journey. And you've heard that ad nauseum. And I've actually had that experience. I remember being on the island of Maui in Hawaii, and there's this place called Hana, and everybody's excited to get to Hana, and the trip to Hana, the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. The luscious vegetation, the waterfalls, the twists and turns, the views of the ocean. I mean, just the getting there, and you got excited thinking, oh my gosh, Hana must be this beautiful, magical place. And when you get there, it's like, nothing, right? It wasn't about Hana. It was about the journey to Hana. And we have to look at our lives and experiment with our lives in such a way to every day you get to journey. It's to open up your eyes about this journey and to take in, using field notes, using journaling, using conversation, to remember some of this stuff so you can see the things that you're doing to yourself and you can understand how to make different decisions and come back differently. One of the reasons that I do these videos is I get to communicate and I get to learn from myself. I'm practicing my communication skills so I can get better and better at this, but I'm also documenting my journey. I'm documenting my thoughts. I put it on camera, and I'm not sure anybody's even going to see this, but I see it. I can hear myself communicating to myself about myself to help pull myself out of my pit, in the hopes that somebody is going to get what they need from my journey. Not in like manner, but it's relatable. Oh my gosh, Pamela rolled into a pit too. What did she do to get out? Maybe I can do that too. Maybe, maybe not. But at least there's comfort in knowing it's not just you. And not only is it not just you, there's somebody on camera, on a video, on YouTube, who's projecting out to the world that this has happened. And although it has happened to her, happened to me, happened to others, we are willing to do what we need to do to pull ourselves up and make a different decision next time so it doesn't happen in like manner again, if ever. All right? So this is why I do this. So you can hear and see and get some inspiration as to what you can do to pull yourself out of that pit. Pit dwelling is not why we're here on this planet. I don't know why people set up shop in that pit. And it doesn't matter why. What matters is the commitment to move yourself out and into a different set of circumstances. Know thyself. I will consistently and almost religiously say that. How well do you know yourself? Create that guide. Create that experimentation book. All right? And I will be creating, actually I've almost finished creating the book that you can create this for yourself and get the answers that you need and pull together your quote unquote medicine. Okay? And the fourth one is to lean into your intuition. Here's the interesting part of all of this, folks. You know exactly what's going on with you. You know exactly how you trip up and disappoint yourselves, and you know exactly what to do to stop it and change it. The question is, why don't you do it? All right? So it's about listening to your intuition, because your intuition could be saying, no, don't go there, stop, leave that person alone, turn the other direction. Maybe this isn't a good situation for you, no matter how shiny it looks. A lot of things look like gold, and they are not. All right? So you have to decide by listening and leaning into your intuition if you're going to follow, because this knows, right? There is part of you I like to call it your soul, but let's use the word intuition. Your intuition knows what you need. It's about listening to it as opposed to all of the other people out there on social media trying to guide you, including me. You will listen to me, but you have to fall into an understanding about yourself because it feels right. Lean in to that feeling and let it direct you, and not a feeling of fear. Yes, you will have doubts about things, but it doesn't mean stop, sit down, take up residence in the pit. All right. So I hope these 4 points were able to help you at least understand it. You might have to watch this video a couple of times to hear it again. And down below in the descriptions, I will have a little bit of it written out, the 4-point framework. But it's about knowing thyself and taking up the actions and the commitment and the self-love needed to pull yourself forward. And yes, my friend, I know, it takes energy. Maybe there are some things that happened in your past that is keeping you in place. Maybe it's old messages from family, your parents, your siblings, friends, peers. All of these things play on us. I get it. But as an adult now, and if you're at the time that I am in my life, where I've lived more than half my life, how long are you going to let other people pull your strings? You are not a puppet. You are an individual that has an individual life that has been individuated from life. It wasn't to live my life. It wasn't to live your mother or your father's life or your husband or your wife's life or your children's lives. It was to live yours. So you have to decide to get to know how you work, all the highs and all the lows and all the stuff in between, the things you don't like, the things standing in your way, your triggers, the blocks, the way you trip yourself up, the times that you quit, all of it. It's field research. It's like an anthropologist trying to figure out past cultures. This is how to find out about your personal culture. What is it that's standing in your way? What is it that's blocking you? What are the thoughts? What are the feelings? All of it. Everything is figure-outable, like Marie Forleo says in her book. Everything is figure-outable. It's whether or not you want to put out the time and the effort to do it. Or would you just rather be a victim and complain and watch your life just drift away? And I know a lot of people do make that decision. And there are reasons and maybe circumstances for that. But again, nothing that they can't get help with in the right hands, right? There are people that have deep traumatic situations that have occurred in their life, and I totally understand that need specialized help to get through and make their breakthroughs. But for the rest of you, or for you that I'm speaking to here, you know that you can do this. You know, even if it's to pick up the phone and make a call and reach out to somebody and say, I need to make an appointment. I need help. Whoever that person happens to be, mentor, coach, therapist, counselor, your best friend, whoever. But make your plan and execute your plan in little tiny steps if you have to. It doesn't have to be anything grandiose. You're not trying to be Oprah. You're not trying to be Lewis Hamilton. You're not trying to be Viola Davis and all the people in between. These are the people that come to mind for me. All right? You're trying to do you in the best way that you can do you. Okay? So I'm going to stay here. It's a lot of information to impart. This is just another reminder about your life is worth vision planning and executing that vision. So I would like you to visit me at pamelasullivan.com and download I have a free download there, and then you will start hearing from me on a regular basis, and I will direct you to other things, books and podcasts and all sorts of things to help you design that vision, install the vision, and take action and accountability to stop disappointing yourself, okay? It's been a wonderful time here on this episode, and I'll see you again. And thanks for hanging out with me in the camper van. on Vancouver Island. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.